But
2.5 mil, I'm looking at the camera, it's 2.5 million sterling, SAP. I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to look at you, I don't like you.
Like, I'll fight him right here in front of me, but then he says I want $2.5 million to box him. How does that make any sense? John's like, if Carl's right here in front of me, I'll fight him, but I'm not going to box him unless it's $2.5 million. Huh? I don't understand that. And also, you had the opportunity.
Mouth like a big idiot and calling me out, saying he wants to fight me. So the opportunity's been put in front of him. I think it was 7 figures. It was well over £1 million with an upside, and he's now said, "Oh, I want £2.5 million." He wants more than what.
Carl Froch calls out John Fury for running and avoiding a fight. He says if Fury really wanted it, it would have happened already. Froch points out that Fury is just making a show, hiding behind excuses, and trying to price himself out while refusing to face him in the ring.
Just leave me alone. Don't start running around like a pillow, like an idiot, making a show of yourself if you've got no intentions of fighting. Anyway, he's been offered the money. He's tried to almost double the money.
Carl Froch calls out John Fury for running his mouth and demanding more money instead of taking the fight. He highlights that the offer was already massive and questions Fury's intentions. Froch makes it clear that Fury is avoiding the fight while publicly pretending to want it, showing a lack of seriousness and credibility.
Whatever figures have been offered, he's gone higher, and that's the most obvious way to not get the fight made. You price yourself out. So he's asked for too much money. I've also seen a video of him saying he wants to give 75% of it to charity. If he wants to give 75% of the money to charity, why is he worried about making 2.5 million instead of 1.5 mil? Just give it to charity. If you want to fight and you're causing a scene and running your gobshite mouth in public, trying to get attention, then take the...
John Fury doubles down on his demand for £2.5 million and insists he is serious about the fight. He tries to appear confident and straight-talking, claiming he does not need a training camp. His tone shows bravado, but the outrageous demand raises questions about his willingness to fight for anything less.
I'm not an ass kisser.
Yeah.
I'm a straight man. I'm a straight man.
But you're serious about it though, aren't you?
Serious. Serious. I'm a Christian man in the name of Jesus. I'm as serious as that. Don't bother about fighting me. Pay me $2.5 million, we'll fight next week. As soon as possible. I don't need it.
Duke McKenzie highlights Carl Froch's mindset when it comes to fighting for money. He suggests Froch thrives on motivation and stakes, but might not rise to unnecessary challenges without incentives. This commentary underlines the gap between bravado and action, emphasizing that Froch is focused and calculated, and a fight with John Fury is more about spectacle than skill. Fans are reminded that money drives some fighters as much as pride, and Froch's experience ensures he will only commit on his terms.
And then there's Froch, who's been paid to fight. He's used to getting money for knocking guys out. I'm sure if they put enough knocks in front of Carl Froch, in front of Carl Froch, then he might rise to it. But he ain't going to rise to it if there's no money on the table, if there's no end goal. If you want to punch up, you can go out in the street and have that any day of the week.
Johnny Neslin criticizes John Fury's bluster, calling out his oversized ego and pointless provocations. The commentary shows that Fury's words are more about creating a spectacle than demonstrating fighting ability. Johnny implies that Fury is trying to ride the hype wave rather than proving himself in the ring. Fans see a pattern of talk without results, and this fuels the narrative that Carl Froch has the upper hand when it comes to experience, composure, and genuine ring credibility.
It means you're pure full of shit. And so John's calling out. His mouth's too big. He's talking things that you don't want him to say. You know, everybody's saying, come on, let's just ride this wave, don't mess up the apple cart. So when he's talking about his son, his legs are gone, he shouldn't be in it. He's talking as a father, not as a hater. Because he...
Wade Plemines points out the glaring physical gap between John Fury and Carl Froch. Despite Fury's confidence, his age and lack of proper ring conditioning would leave him exhausted quickly. The commentary paints a picture of a fighter who talks big but is unlikely to sustain any meaningful performance. Fans are left questioning Fury's claims as Plemines suggests he lacks the stamina and technique to last even 2 rounds, highlighting that experience and fitness always beat mere bravado.
Dude, I love that John is just so confident in himself. He would gas inside of 2 rounds. 2 rounds, but if he even made it 2 rounds with Carl Froch, he would gas probably in the first round. He's 60 years old. I'm not saying he couldn't hobble about for 4 rounds or something, but he would be gassed inside of 2. Because the way that John runs...
John Fury describes his plan with extreme confidence and vivid imagery, but it reads more like fantasy than practical boxing strategy. The commentary shows Fury attempting to justify his fight with bravado while focusing on theatrics and potential damage. Fans see that the showmanship is his main tool rather than technical skill. His language suggests he is relying on intimidation rather than proven ability, which contrasts sharply with Carl Froch's disciplined, experienced, and precise approach in the ring.
Yeah.
He'll have a shock, and I don't do steroids.
He'll have a shock. What the fuck does pulling a pony around got to do with boxing? I'm sorry. I'm staying fit. Does he think this... Again, I love it. I want to see training videos of John pulling a pony around, or like pushing a sled with, or pulling a carriage with bales of hay.
Pain Game emphasizes Carl Froch's legendary toughness and readiness, showing that he commands respect from fighters and promoters alike. Froch's conditioning, skill, and mental strength set him apart, even in casual scenarios outside the ring. Fans are reminded that Froch is not just talk, he is a fighter who inspires confidence and fear simultaneously. The commentary reinforces the idea that John Fury, despite his words, faces a genuine professional with decades of experience and world-class ability in every encounter.
Like, Carl's a genuine, like, world champion level fighter, and he's actually bigger than you'd think, right, when you meet him. He's a lot younger than John, and his peak was outrageously good, right? And he's kept himself in shape. And even now, I remember having a chat with Eddie Hearn, like, about, like, you know, what fighter you've met is, like, the toughest fighter. And he said to me, like, if I'm ever in a bit of bother, the man I want standing next to me at a pub or whatever is Carl fuck.
Eddie Hearn points out the harsh reality of John Fury facing Carl Froch in the ring. Fury's confidence is undermined by Froch's experience and tactical precision, highlighting that arrogance alone cannot overcome skill. Fans are reminded that Froch's ability to control space and exploit weaknesses would likely result in Fury being caught off guard. This commentary emphasizes the difference between showmanship and true fighting capability, illustrating why Froch remains a respected and dangerous competitor. John Fury's bravado doesn't compensate for the decades of disciplined boxing intelligence Froch brings to any confrontation.
Each other. If John Fury stuck it on Carl Froch in his space, I think he would chin him immediately.
Really? Even live on Netflix?
Yes. Because these guys, they don't allow you to do...
Adam Smith frames the clash between Carl Froch and John Fury as a mixture of spectacle and genuine confrontation. The commentary shows that both sides enjoy the drama, with Froch's jabs at the Furies provoking John Fury into challenging him. Fans are drawn into the narrative, seeing that the feud is as much about personality, showmanship, and entertainment as it is about fighting skill. While John Fury wants to assert dominance, Froch remains calm and experienced, indicating that he thrives in situations of tension, keeping control and turning hype into advantage.
Having a go at the Furies, probably over his time on his channel, maybe, I'm guessing, and John didn't like that and wants to have a fight with him, something like that.
It was something like that. I don't think he was still necessarily turning down a fight.
What I do know is that John Fury and Carl Froch on the cobbles will be fun. I think they both have a good fun.
Joe Egan criticizes John Fury, calling out his avoidance and hypocrisy. Fury's words, full of bravado, fail to match the reality of entering a competitive ring with an experienced fighter like Carl Froch. Egan emphasizes that Fury labels others as frauds while shying from direct confrontation. Fans see the tension between talk and action, with Carl Froch positioned as the true professional. The commentary underlines that respect in boxing comes from skill and courage, not threats or insults. Fury's reputation for bluster contrasts with Froch's controlled and proven approach, reinforcing why Froch is the credible figure here.
Because he called me a fake and a fraud, fake hard man. I will show him how much of a fake hard man I am. He's the one that's shying away from the fight.
Johnny Nelson suggests that Carl Froch would decisively outclass John Fury in any real fight. While Fury created excitement and hype, Nelson emphasizes that it was all showmanship. The commentary shows that Froch's calm experience and devastating skill set would overwhelm Fury if they met in a proper contest. Fans see that hype alone cannot match preparation and technical mastery. Nelson's words frame the narrative that Froch thrives in disciplined, real competition, while Fury's theatrics are limited to verbal challenges and crowd-pleasing antics, making the contrast between spectacle and real boxing very clear.
in Thailand training, so he's got to make sure he trains right. No cutting corners at this stage in your life. 37 years old. There's a lot of young lions knocking at the door, watching you. You're in a meal ticket, they're planning for you already. And I think Tyson.
Gareth A. Davies explains that John Fury's intensity is driven by his passion for his sons, rather than a desire to prove himself in the ring. Fury reacts to provocations, but lacks consistent fighting credibility outside his family context. Fans see a man motivated by pride and emotion, rather than technique or strategy. In contrast, Carl Froch brings discipline, composure, and experience. This commentary highlights the difference between emotional bravado and actual boxing skill, showing that Froch's legacy is built on action and success, while Fury's reputation relies largely on theatrics and commentary.
What John does, he's very, very, very passionate around his sons when they're fighting, and it gets something out of him. I spoke to him, right, literally face to face, and I said, well, you know, what is upset? He said, I don't want people calling me out because I'll take any man on. Yeah. You know the comments. Yeah. My guy.
Joe Egan makes it clear that Carl Froch's experience and skill set far outmatch John Fury's bluster. Froch is a Hall of Famer who has faced some of the toughest opponents in the division and dominated them, while Fury's reputation is built on intimidation and theatrics rather than proven ability. The commentary emphasizes the difference between true boxing talent and mere bravado. Fans are shown that stepping into the ring requires more than confidence and size. It requires strategy, timing, and a history of conquering high-level opposition. Egan positions Froch as a legitimate, disciplined fighter capable of dismantling Fury's facade, showing that experience, preparation, and in-ring intelligence will always outclass bullying and hype, no matter how loud.
I watched Carl Froch getting knocked down by George Groves. He was gone. Carl Froch has an incredible will to win. The fights that he's had with the great champions, and he's come out of the sport intact. For John Fury to be calling out Carl Froch on his opinion, because Carl Froch is entitled to give his opinion in boxing. If you can't have freedom of speech, what was the point in these men and women dying in the world wars, giving their lives in vain?
What do you think would actually happen if John Fury and Carl Froch, as he is,
Carl Froch could stand there and say to John, I'll give you 2 free shots, John. Hit me with your right hand and hit me with your left hand.
Lame Goff highlights John Fury's aggressive approach and his tendency to confront opponents verbally. Fury's theatrics create drama, but his track record shows he has been outclassed by weaker opponents before. In contrast, Carl Froch is a calculated technical fighter who thrives in high-pressure situations. Fans are given a clear picture of the disparity. Fury relies on intimidation, shouting, and spectacle, while Froch depends on decades of ring experience and strategic mastery. This commentary reinforces that bravado does not translate into ability, and Froch's calm, composed style would neutralize Fury's aggression in any actual fight. It's a lesson for the audience in the difference between loud threats and real boxing skill, showing why Froch is respected globally.
He went and tried to approach Carl Froch, screaming all these things at him. You know, the fighting man, you know, John Fury, 100-0 on the hard road, in spite of the fact he's been ironed out in the boxing ring plenty of times, including by non-punchers like Henry Akin one day, and it's all there for the people to see. He was going in on Carl Froch.
Spencer Oliver provides a nuanced view, acknowledging that both John Fury and Carl Froch have dangerous aspects. Fury's size, presence, and audacity make him intimidating, while Froch, nicknamed Cobra, remains deadly due to skill, timing, and experience. The commentary captures the tension between raw physicality and technical mastery, emphasizing that in boxing, age, strategy, and preparation can overcome mere size and aggression. Fans are shown that Fury's theatrics with Lewis and Froch create spectacle, but the outcome in a controlled ring favors Froch's disciplined, high-level training. Oliver's analysis teaches viewers to differentiate hype from capability, showing why Froch is considered the true threat despite Fury's fearsome persona.
Oh, John Fury, Carl Froch, who wins that one?
Difficult one to call, that
really?
You got to go with the Cobra. You got to go with the Cobra, mate. Really? The Cobra's dangerous. He's still in shape. 48 years of age.
John's standing over there behind you.
You got to go with John Fury. Yeah, no, it kicked off a little bit. But it wasn't only Carl Froch that he went into either, did he? He actually went into Lennox Lewis as well. He started steaming into Lennox Lewis a little bit, and I go, whoa, who wins that one?
Liam Goff highlights the back-and-forth history between John Fury and Carl Froch, showing that tension has been building over time. Fury's challenges are closely tied to money and spectacle, while Froch has maintained composure, even agreeing to potential charity matches, showing class and strategy. This commentary exposes the contrast. Fury thrives on bravado and demands, whereas Froch uses calculated engagement to control situations. Fans are reminded that real boxing expertise is grounded in discipline, preparation, and the ability to act rather than react. The discussion emphasizes that Froch's legacy as a technical, intelligent, and experienced fighter puts him far ahead of Fury's theatrics, leaving viewers understanding who would likely prevail.
John Fury was doing that and goading Carl Froch. And I know John Fury doesn't like Carl Froch. Carl Froch mentions him, although I haven't really watched much of Carl Froch's videos lately. But Carl Froch I know has mentioned John Fury in the past. He's had a go with John Fury. They actually talked about having an actual, was it an exhibition or a boxing type match? And John Fury, the, any man, any time, was saying words to the effect of, oh, I'll fight you, Carl Froch, but the money has to be right. And Carl Froch basically said, all right, well, if we arrange payment, it can go to charity.
The drama between John Fury and Carl Froch has captivated fans with a mix of bravado, trash talk, and tension that feels straight out of a heavyweight saga. Carl Froch has made it clear he is not intimidated by Fury's threats and theatrics, and every clip shows a man who thrives on discipline, experience, and precise execution inside the ring. John Fury may be loud, aggressive, and physically imposing, but his history shows he relies more on intimidation than technical skill. Froch, on the other hand, has faced elite opponents, controlled fights under pressure, and used strategy to dominate from start to finish. Experts and insiders alike have confirmed that while Fury creates spectacle and hype, Froch's timing, accuracy, and boxing intelligence would neutralize any of Fury's bluster and size advantage. The contrast is stark, and it teaches fans that confidence alone cannot win a fight against years of preparation and proven skill. This saga is far from over, and fans are left wondering if the fight will ever happen in the ring or remain a battle of words. If you want to see how this story develops, make sure to hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for every update in this ongoing boxing drama.